In this brief demonstration, we're going to go into the day-to-day administration of identities within the Motorola Solutions Access Control Manager. This is probably the most popular area of the product where most of our administrators will spend the majority of their time, and that's inside the identities section, adding, removing, modifying identities within that section. So let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to start first by adding an identity to the system so that you can see how easy that can be done by using the wizards that are built within the product. So I'm going to go ahead and say I want to add an identity. In this case, I'm going to give it a last name and a first name. These are the only two fields that are required for adding an identity to the system. Now, if you wanted to collect other information, like maybe an employee ID number that would go in the external system ID, or if they have a title, manager, staff, department, division, these are all things that you could pick as part of the drop-down piece. Also, we can collect demographic data, and if this person might be an administrator of the system on their own, you would give them a login and a password and so forth down here. But I'm just going to add this person as a standard regular user with the minimal amount of data that I collect. And in this case, it is going to be the division that they belong to, title, last name, first name. I'll go ahead and hit save. And as a wizard, it's going to take me to the next tab. The next tab is where I get to assign them the role assignment. Now, the way my system is configured, by default, all new people entered into the system will automatically get the employee entrances. In the case of this person, though, I am going to give them some additional access. I am going to allow them Saturday and Sunday access, as well as second through fourth floor access from the elevators. So I'll go ahead and push that over. I'm going to hit save. And again, the wizard will take me to the next section, which is assigning them a token or a badge. So the only thing really that you need to put in here is their internal token number. The embossed number is optional, so I'm just going to go ahead and enter their number in there. And you want to make sure that the status is active. If this is somebody who's going to start maybe in a few weeks or so, you might want to say not yet active, which allows you to post it out into the future so that it can start on the original start date that they're going to show up from work. Also in here, if you want to, you can set this person to never expire, or you can leave it to the 1 year out default date that it'll automatically get. For me, I typically like to set people to never expire. And then down below, you'll see some stuff that ties into our intrusion detection as it relates to Bosch. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here to save their token. I can now give that person their token if I like and send them on their way. Or I can go ahead and do other things like add them to a group. So maybe they're part of the, building one employee group, or they might be part of sales or some other groups. In this case, I'm not really going to assign them to any, but I do want to give this person a photo. So I can capture a photo using a standard USB camera connected to the computer that I'm on, or I can upload a photo, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and browse, and I'm going to hit this one, and I am going to make this their primary photo, and I'm going to hit save. In a second here, it's going to pull in that photo. Now, if I want to click on that photo, I can go ahead and click on it, and I can manipulate the layout of the photo if I want, and how I want it to appear within the identities section. So I'm just going to make a minor shift there and hit save. Now, if the badge that I'm going to give this individual is one that I'm going to print their information on, then I can simply come here to the badge tab and say create badge. And this will go ahead and give me the ability to create or send this print job to the printer printing that person's badge. So also, if this person needed temporary access to certain areas, be it doors or access groups within my system, I could assign temporary access. Let's just say Adam is going to be doing some contract work in the server room where he's replacing servers and server racks. I can go in here and say, give a name, temp server room, give him that server room access starting on this date at this time, and I can do it 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday, however I want to set that up, and then save it. He will then have temporary access to that server room during that period of time. Once that time expires, he will no longer have access to that room. Also on the Access tab and the remaining tabs, it's kind of just being able to see what kind of access does he have based on the role assignments that he was given, what access group correlate to those role assignments, and then what physical doors does that give him access to. Next is the transactions. He won't have any because he hasn't used his badge and he hasn't gone anywhere within the building yet. So once he starts using his badge around the building, this is a quick way to come see, hey, has anybody seen Adam today? His wife called, they got an emergency at home. I could come right to his identities, click on the transactions tab, and see where he last presented his card. So I could narrow down where on campus he may be. Also, the audit table, this is going to show me any audits that were done and by whom. And I like this because it gives me a true before and after set of attributes. So go down here and I'll look at, Bill Mikens, that's me, on this date, this time. I went into the role attributes. And before I did anything, this person only had employee entrances. When I was done, that person also had second and fourth floor access and weekend access assigned to them. So you can see, what did this person have before and what did they have after the fact? And then this additional tab is a set of custom user-defined fields that we built and added to this particular demo system to show that if there's a field that is needed by the customer that doesn't already natively exist, they can add those extra fields if they like. So that's it in a nutshell. That's how you add like a new identity. Let's just say hypothetically I want to modify an identity. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on the letter S and we'll pick a person in here. Let's go ahead and pick Tony Seep, for example. And I can take Tony, and from this main screen, I can change his status from active to anything else that I want. So if I put his status as inactive, if Tony had a login and a password, which he does, it's going to disable his ability to log in. But also, when I hit save, any and all tokens that were assigned to Tony are also going to be marked inactive. So just by clicking one button on the first page allows you to take away a person's logical access to the product and all their physical access to any and all doors across the system. And also from here you can manage multiple things. I mean, if you had a person who got married and their last name changed from Sally Smith to Sally Jones, you could simply come in here and change the last name. If you needed to expand on a person's role assignments and give them more assignments that they could do, you could do that here as well. If you wanted to say, oh, I made a mistake, I didn't mean to make his status inactive, so you come back here, I'll make it active again, and then I'll go in and enable his tokens. But in this case, I've also taken away a role assignment from him, so his badge will work, but he no longer will have physical access to the product. He won't be able to come in and do any more administration because I took the role of administrator away from him at this point. So, but I do want him to still have physical access to the facility, so I'm going to go ahead and give that back to him. And that's kind of it. I mean, you can update photos for people. You can move their area assignments around. For example, what department they belong to. Does he no longer work in sales and he works in product management now? So there's multiple things that you can do within the identity management piece, but fairly simple, easy to use way to do your day-to-day administration of the identities across your system.